Hey guys, I'm gonna be honest with you, this was not a crazy kitchen declutter. I didn't get rid of 75% of my things. I didn't get a bunch of new organizational tools, and there's nothing that actually changed my life that I bought. I just had a 2-hour nap window and I just knew my kitchen wasn't working for me, and so I knew that I needed to adjust some things. That's it. Decluttering and organizing can really feel like it's such a big task. I feel like it's one of those things that we kind of build up in our minds as being really intimidating, of like, I have to make sure that I have a whole day, that I have all this time, I have all this energy, I have enough trash bags, and I just really don't want to deal with all of that. So I have found 3 rules when I declutter my home, and they worked for me when I decluttered my kitchen. So I just want to share this with you guys. Rule number 1 is to live in the space for a while, and a while can mean anything to you. For me, it probably means about a year of being somewhere before I really know how I function in a space. Moving into a new home, be sure to unpack everything, every single box that you can that's not decor or something, and just go ahead and put it in a cabinet and put it in a place. And then as time passes, you'll know when something isn't working for you, because you'll just know if the pot holders are too far away, or if that drawer sticks too much, or if you hate having to reach up for your spices and would rather have them on the counter. These are things that only you can know once you actually live in your home for a significant amount of time. I've been living in my house now for almost 3 years, and I do cook from scratch now almost every meal, and I feel like I have a good sense of what I need my kitchen to do for me. And the way it was laid out currently with how I had put things originally just wasn't working for me. It was taking too many steps for me to get back and forth to certain things. I had jars just like in random places. I was holding on to some items that I knew I needed to be honest about and let go of. And these are just things that only you can decide for yourself whenever you are the one living and using that space. One big kitchen adjustment may not fix all of your organization and systems, but a lot of little adjustments over time really will, and you'll see an improvement for sure if you're willing to be patient and kind of see what those changes need to be. If you adjust too much at once, it can be really overwhelming and hard to keep up the systems, but if you do a little bit over time, then you know those systems actually work for you and your family and your home. Rule number 2 is group things together based on frequency of usage. It's pretty obvious to group things together by type, but one thing I never thought about until a couple years ago was the frequency in which I use things really makes a difference of where it should be in my kitchen. If I don't use something a lot, then it can be in a taller cabinet where I have to get a stool out. But if I'm pulling for something every single day, like my toaster I use almost every day, but I hate it on my counter, I keep it underneath in an easy to reach spot, so it's not a struggle for me to get it. But my blender, I don't use every single day, but I use probably like once every 2 weeks. So that's on a higher shelf, but in a place where I can still see it. Even someone like me, who I would call myself pretty organized, and I do declutter pretty often, I still had all of these like jars and like empty glass bottles and things just like shoved up in top of cabinets and in corners where like they were just all over the place, and like they weren't all together in a place where I knew I could find them all. Even like your most organized people can often have just like random things in the corners. By finally grouping things together based on type and frequency, I found more space in my cabinets, and I found that I am taking less back and forth expeditions just to match my lids to my pots and pans because they're finally together. Rule number 3, that's kind of a hard one and could be deep and philosophical if you let it. Perfection doesn't really matter, but functionality really does. I've always loved aesthetic. I love pretty things. I like things I touch to be pretty. I like things I see to be pretty. I just love pretty, 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 pretty. But I don't know if it has to do with me getting older. I'm in my 30s now, or like having a child, being a mom. But my new rule is like, if the pretty way isn't working, then just do it the ugly way. And it really has changed my life. When not every single thing in my life has to be perfectly pretty, I'm actually able to move and function, and that really is a priority in my life now. I personally hate the way that my storage containers look in my cabinet with the lids on, but that's the only way I can keep them together and organized. I don't like my blender being on that top shelf in the cabinet because it's like prime real estate for pretty dishes, but it is the best place for my blender instead of in the drawer where my toddler could reach it before. So if I can do pretty, I always do pretty, unless it makes my system ugly, then the only way to function is the ugly way. Over the years of moving and decluttering and reorganizing and trying to find places for all of my things, I've realized that a declutter and organizing can actually be really chill, and it doesn't have to be this intense project every single time. I don't have to try to be minimalist every single time. I don't have to try to like go deep into my emotions and like uncover all this emotional guilt about stuff every single time. I can just take a few minutes to tackle a drawer or a cabinet or one shelf of a closet, and doing those little things over time really do make a difference, not just in your home of like it being organized, but also like mental space of just knowing that you have that part clean and you have that part organized with stuff that you need. Especially if you are a busy person, if you're working or if you're staying at home, extra mental space is really important. And so just taking like 10 minutes and putting it on a timer or using a nap time and decluttering your kitchen really makes a difference. Anyway, those are 3 things that really changed my life. They're super obvious, but I feel like there's a lot of obvious stuff I didn't know and I've just kind of had to learn. And so if you can learn it earlier than I did, that's all I can hope for. So if you enjoyed this video, comment down below. If you have your own rules, please share them down below. I am open to new ideas and learning new things, and be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see y'all later.